Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and yeah, I've been waiting for some news. I've been waiting for something to talk about in regards to Celtic. It's been a long wait. You know, we had a bit of news last week, and I was thinking to myself, hopefully something good to talk about this week. It's not good. I didn't want to have to do this, but here we are. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. Apologies that there has only really been FM content on the channel over the past week. There's not been much to talk about until today. Well, we've got some massive news we need to speak about. So if you could, I'd much appreciate you hitting the like button, because it's been slow. It's been a slog of an international break, a World Cup break. So I'm glad to be back talking about Celtic today. Unfortunately, not in the best circumstances, as many of you will know by now. There has been huge news surrounding Giorgos Giakoumakis over the past sort of 24 hours. Last night it was broke by Scott Burns and Duncan Castles of the Daily Record that Giorgos Giakoumakis might not be at Celtic for much longer. Now, don't get your knickers in a twist. Don't come for me, don't shoot the messenger. I'm here to give my opinion, I'm here to talk about it all. I'm not saying that Giakoumakis is gone, because I know some people just try and cut to the point straight away and take it as if I'm saying it's done and he's away. No, absolutely not. It's not what I'm saying. But what I'm here to do is discuss what's been kind of revealed and give my opinion to it all, and whether the substance is enough to have me worried. And everybody will have their own opinions when it comes to this article that broke last night. People will be saying it's nonsense. People will be believing it. And it's up to you to really make your own decision here until there's more concrete evidence on the table that Giakoumakis is off from Celtic. Then that's when it becomes a more feasible issue to talk about. But it's good to talk about nonetheless, because, you know, we have had this news which isn't very much welcomed. It's rather annoying, and for someone as myself who's a massive Giakoumakis fan, he's probably my favourite or second favourite outfield player at the club. For this to come out last night, it was kind of heartbreaking. I shed a tear. It's been a tough enough week as it is. To then have this break last night was quite the gutter, to be quite honest. So what is the article saying? If you haven't read it, here is what the article leads with. Scott Burns and Duncan Castles, as I said. Giorgos Giakoumakis is poised for a shock Celtic exit in January. The Scottish champions have been unable to reach an agreement over an improved contract with the striker. Talks have been ongoing, but unless there is a significant change of heart on either side, then a suitable compromise is unlikely to be reached. Celtic are also in a similar position with Croatia's World Cup star Josip Juranovic and are ready to cash in. It then goes on to talk about how there is interest, European interest, in Giorgos Giakoumakis, and he's unhappy that a new deal cannot be agreed. Now, Giorgos Giakoumakis is under contract to Celtic, with Celtic, till the summer of 2026, which straight away raises the point, well, how much truth is in the January exit part? Because there is nothing to suggest he needs to leave now. If Celtic want to cash in on a striker who's obviously 27 years of age, now is probably the time to do it. You're going to get nothing in the summer of 2026 when he's 30 years old, and God knows how his form will be by then. You're going to get nothing. Nobody's going to pay a lot of money for a 30-year-old striker from Scotland. And then you kind of ask yourself, well, is there truth in him wanting the exit? Is he that unhappy that he's not getting a wage rise that he wants to leave? This is where it all comes a bit sort of take everything with a pinch of salt, because it's hard to read into this, and there's no point in making assumptions. If I was to lean towards a side, I think it's a very believable article. I think it's a very believable story, and I think that we could be in a situation where we look to sell Giakoumakis. And a lot of you won't agree with me, and a lot of you will tell me to calm down, you know, don't get my knickers in a twist, as I said to you guys at the start of the video. But I'm going to talk through my theory as to why. Let's go back to the AGM. And you've probably seen these comments brought up a few times since this story broke last night. Ange Postecoglou, he said, "We will need to move players around to make gains. We have to maximise our squad to get the greatest revenue from the club." Keyword revenue. "I'm comfortable with that. It will be unsettling for you guys. You'll have favourite players, but we will need to be wise." Now, I think when Ange Postecoglou hit out with this statement, there was a couple of names that came to mind straight away. One of them being the prominent one, Josip Juranovic. I think all of us sort of expected him to move on in January, and his name was first that came to mind. There was also a couple of other names that were suggested could be players that we look to move on sooner than we expected. One of the names that I didn't think of or didn't expect it to be was Giorgos Giakoumakis. But when you look back on Ange's comments now, everything sort of lines up with a sale of Giorgos Giakoumakis. Unsettling, certainly. Maximise revenue. If you're going to do that, the time is now. As I said earlier, 27 years of age, this is the moment in time to sell a player to maximise the revenue. It's not in 3 years when his contract expires. It's now. And everything that he sort of hinted towards in that statement suggests to me that these are the kind of unexpected departures that we might see under the tenure of Ange Postecoglou. And that's obviously not a throwing shade on Ange. It's just how good we've got this squad playing if we want to, maximise our possibility of making money, of using that money to sign better players. We've got to strike when the iron's hot. You know what I'm saying? It's not one of those ones that you can wait and sort of let it peter out, because all it takes is a 6 months of a dry spell for him, not scoring goals. And suddenly the interest disappears. Suddenly the demand goes away, the money, the value goes down. And then you've missed that chance to, once again, quoting the manager, maximising the squad to get the greatest revenue. You're missing out on that opportunity. And that, for me, is the key evidence as to why this story could be believable. There's also another couple of things. You won't want to hear it, and I know that we all have a kind of lack of trust in modern day journalism, but coming from a student journalist, but Duncan Castles was very big in the reporting of Giakoumakis' transfer to Celtic in the first place. He was the one reporting that we had agreed to sign him from Venlo in Holland, so it kind of brings a little bit more legitimacy to the reports. As much as we all want to kind of bombard the media with, I've seen a lot of people saying it's, and it's, you can side with this if you like, because it is one of those things. We've seen it before. Rangers have got a new manager. It's now time to scaremonger. It's time to worry the Celtic fans. Let's throw out an unsettling story. That is very much possible, but someone like Duncan Castles, who was the one who reported him joining Celtic, now having an insight into maybe the departure from Celtic, he will have very viable sources in relation to Giorgos Giakoumakis, whether that be an agent, whether it be a friend, another player, someone from Holland, who knows, somebody from Greece. He'll probably have someone there that has probably kept him quite in the loop with Giakoumakis joining and potentially leaving Celtic, which does bring a sort of legitimacy to what is being said in this article. That, for me, is another worrying sign of this could happen. I'm trying my best not to get paranoid, but I think that there is a kind of fine line that Celtic fans can be on here. We don't need to be paranoid. If Giorgos Giakoumakis chooses to leave Celtic, I'll watch him go with a big heart, with a massive thank you to the service he's gave our club so far. If he wants to go on and further his career at a point where he probably needs to do it now, I don't blame him. If he thinks he deserves more money, he deserves a bigger role, a bigger club, whatever, I'm not going to judge that. That's fair enough by him. But in the line of, I think there's a line here that Celtic fans, they don't need to be so divisive over. They don't need to be sort of one-sided over. We've seen under Ange that things will continue to go well. And this is the thing, we've already been linked with a replacement option, someone who might be coming in to take over the boots of Giorgos Giakoumakis. And this is the kind of third and final reason why I think that this record article that broke last night could have more to it than what just meets the eye. Cho Gui-sung. Pronunciation might be off there, I hope it's not. Korean striker, scored 2 against Ghana in the World Cup this past week, actually. He has apparently been linked with Celtic. He is someone that is on the radar of Celtic. It was reported during the week, and it kind of adds up if there is going to be a departing striker. Now, I know back in the summer we said we'd maybe like to add another striker to the squad, but it certainly does add up and make a lot more sense if someone like Giakoumakis leaves, that we have someone in the wings, someone that we have got on our radar that could come in and take up his role in the squad. I obviously don't know too much about the guy. I've only seen him play at the World Cup on 1 or 2 occasions. 24 years old, and you're looking at someone who could come in and fill the goals that Giakoumakis would be leaving behind. And that, for me, is probably the third or so reason why this could be a very realistic possibility. We'll do a video tomorrow or during the week, or over the weekend, sorry, kind of talking more about Gui-sung and what he offers as a player, because I don't want to sit and make this video too long. But the fact that we are being linked with another striker who kind of, in that sense, has a sort of similar presence. He looks kind of taller, a bit more power to his game. kind of different from Kyogo. That's exactly what Giakoumakis offers, isn't it? It's a different option to Kyogo. The fact that we're being linked with someone in that sort of same category, they will be different from Giakoumakis, of course, but sort of same sort of aura in the sense that it is different from Kyogo. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So I guess it is just about waiting and seeing what happens and what substance comes from these reports, and whether or not the Giakoumakis one carries a kind of truth to it. Now, you'll remember when Juranovic was first linked away with the club a few weeks ago, he was posting laughing faces to people who were replying on his Instagram and such. For all we know, Giakoumakis could come back in the first game. The first game against Aberdeen, I know we play Livingston. In the first game, he could come out in a post-match press conference and say, it's nonsense, I'm not going anywhere, I'm happy here, I'm happy with my deal, I want to spend as much time at Celtic as I like, and he could rubbish the whole thing. It is just about waiting and seeing now, and that's why I can't reiterate enough, take everything with a pinch of salt. If I am leaning to a particular side, it is the one that this story I think does carry a bit of weight to it. I think it's one that we might see become more likely as weeks go by. But I hope not. I love Giakoumakis. I think he is a fantastic striker. He's been one of my favourite strikers that we've had at the club in a long time. And we've been lucky, to be fair. We've been really lucky with strikers. We went from Dembele to Edouard to Kyogo to Giakoumakis. You know, we've been really lucky. But Giakoumakis has had a real presence that I don't think we've had in a striker for a very long time. I remember last year drawing comparisons to the likes of Jan Vennegoor of Hesseling, just the way that he would be a presence in the box and scores goals with his first touch and stuff. We've never really had that in quite a while, and I don't want us to lose that, but I think that Andrew's comments have told us, if we're to learn anything from them, that this is the uncomfortable truth. This is what we're going to have to experience to make gains as a club. If we're going to have to keep evolving, if we're going to have to make money and catch up with other clubs, we've got to cash in when we can. And it is unsettling, as I said, and fans might not enjoy it, but it's the harsh reality of football now, I suppose. So I guess it's just about waiting and seeing what comes out. It was reported, of course, in that article, that unless there's a change of heart on either side, then it looks as though he could be off. It depends what teams are interested, what they offer him, and that's why we're just going to have to wait and see. Will Celtic stump up more money for him, or will they be happy to try and go out and cash in? It's another one that the club have got to choose a side to be on, and it's not an easy decision to make. So we'll wait and see. That was the news. So is there one in, one out? That's the question. Giakoumakis away, Sung in. We'll just have to wait and see. Unsettling. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. We'll be back on the channel tomorrow, I hope. FM will be back as well at some point. But thank you for the support, and I'll see you all next time.